Welcome to Business S7, your weekly journal on financial, economic and business news, not just in Africa, but especially in Namibia. Stay tuned, we've got a full-packed program for you.
Every day, you make choices that make you legendary. Journey together with us on the path to securing your legacy as a member of the League of Legends. With the Select Platinum Bundle Fee Premium Bank offering, you will access tools that will enable you to thrive. If you earn 850,000 Namibian dollars per annum or more, you can apply for this offering today via bankvinted.com.na for only 447 Namibian dollars per month. Bank Vinted, a member of Capricorn Group.
To start things off, let's take a look at the business stories that made headlines in Africa over the past week, as compiled by Reuters.
Here's what's been making the business headlines in sub-Saharan Africa this week. 2 companies in Central African Republic are among 4 that the United States has accused of engaging in illicit gold dealings to fund Russia's Wagner Group. The US Treasury Department said it had slapped sanctions on the companies, including car-based Midas Resources and Diamville, to degrade what it described as the mercenary forces' expansion and violence in Africa, Ukraine, and anywhere else. Wagner, recently engaged in an aborted mutiny against Moscow, did not immediately respond to the US allegations. Spokespeople for Midas and Diamville could not be reached. Also in gold, South African miner Gold Fields has said it will pursue growth by building mines and searching for new deposits in areas such as Canada and Latin America. That's after a bid to rapidly expand through a $6.7 billion acquisition of Yamana Gold was foiled by rivals. Elsewhere in South Africa, BMW has announced it will build its electric X3 model in the country from 2024. The carmaker will invest 4.2 billion rand or $225 million to electrify its plant in Rosslyn. Turning now from the roads to the skies, the chief executive of Kenya's first low-cost airline, Jambo Jet, has said it will seek savings by leasing used planes. Karanja Ndegwa said the Kenya Airways-owned carrier is facing severe pressures from a weaker local currency and high fuel prices, but also expects passenger numbers to grow by a fifth this year to 1.2 million. And finally, Ethiopia, one of Africa's fastest growing economies, has asked to join the BRICS bloc of emerging markets, its foreign minister said on Thursday. BRICS nations, that's Brazil, Russia, India, China and South Africa, will meet for a summit in Johannesburg in August. They account for about 40% of the world's population and 26% of the global economy.
Kelpa Blue is a pioneering farming project near Lüderitz, and it's making international headlines because of its green initiative. Daniel Wooft, he's the co-founder and the CEO of the company, elaborates.
The hero of our story is kelp, these big brown seaweeds. Now, kelp forests teem with life. They also draw down vast amounts of carbon, and a lot of this carbon ends up in ocean sediments, buried forever. And those are our 2 aims, restoring biodiversity to the oceans and burying carbon on a global scale. We're starting this year, here in Namibia, in the waters of the Benguela Current, about 10 miles offshore from here. These cold waters are some of the richest in nutrients in the world, and as such present perfect conditions for growing kelp. My team and I share a great optimism in humanity. Human history is full of stories of extraordinary innovation in the face of vast challenges. It's time to put that ingenuity to work for our garden planet.
my own personal plan with the project is I want to train and teach the community to make them aware of this beauty of the Benguela current we have. One wise man in Kalblu once said, you know, when you wake up every morning, you are not doing this for you, you're doing this for your team, you're doing this for the community. And that's very true. So it's not something of one man's show, but it's actually something that's going to change not only this town, but the region and the nation at wide.
The world needs more lighthouses of inspiration, so that people stop accepting business as usual as inevitable, and are given courage and support in their efforts to build a world in which people and nature thrive together.
Regina Apollos is a communal farmer near Marienthal, and she's using some of the biostimulants that is produced by kelp blue to boost crop yields. She explains why.
I'm Regina Apollos. I'm from Glencoe Communal Farm. I'm farming with garlic. Welcome to my farm. So this is the aloe vera.
Oh, wow.
Aloe vera. This is now my garlic fields. It's a communal area. 4 families staying together, each one on its own spot. Currently I'm doing garlic. For the sole reason that it is a drought-resistant crop, or you can really, he will forgive you if you don't give him water. Because I want to do sustainable farming, so I only want to do organic. We have soaked them in the kelp blue for a day. We blended, and we have a first round of spraying of the kelp blue. So I think that also have helped the plant to become really strong. I think no one ever tried. They just thought it cannot be done. I was just showing them it's possible. So I hope if I can be successful, I want to draw some people with. Yeah, that is what I want to achieve at the end of the day. All that I can see is that they are growing strong. The end product, we will see. Because if they are strong like for now, if they are strong when they are small, then it's guaranteed we will get a good product.
Thank you so much to FNB for this opportunity. Thank you so much to FNB. What an experience. I never got to do shopping in 5 minutes, but look at all this.
Mines and Energy Minister Tom Alvendu earlier this week announced the new Diamond Board of Namibia. He explains the importance of this board and also the importance of diamonds to the Namibian economy.
The Diamond Act, as we know it, is the act that establishes the Diamond Board. where the Act says there shall be a Diamond Act, and the main function, or probably the only function of the board, is to advise the minister responsible for mines and energy on matters relating to the diamond industry. And therefore there is a distinction between this board and the normal board that we know of, for example, the board of the SOEs. This is not a board like where they take decisions on anything, but they advise the minister on issues that relates to the diamond industry. And this is an important function because as we all know, the diamond industry play a very, very crucial, important role in our economy. For example, in terms of our total export that come from the diamond, for the mining industry as a whole, more than 50% of that export value come from the diamond industry. In 2022, the total revenue that went to the treasury from the mining sector as a total, 55% of that came from the diamond sector only. So that is really an indication that the diamond sector is a very, very important sector of our economy, and therefore we need to deal with it with due care, and the Diamond Board has got a role to play in how we then manage this industry that is so important.
Johannes Gavagab, the governor of the Bank of Namibia, and a delegation of the central bank earlier this week met with President Hage Geingob. Gavagab spoke to reporters after the meeting.
We want a banking sector and system that works for Namibia. We want decision making to be centralized and happening in Namibia. If you look at the private sector credit extension in the country, it's around 2-3%. Even last year it was around 3% level. If you go back a couple of years, private sector credit extension has been pretty high, 9, 10, 11, 12. But we currently have got a situation where credit extended to Namibian individuals, households, and to Namibian SMEs and businesses are pretty low. So we are granting licenses to our banks to offer credit. In as much as we are responsible for the stability and soundness of the banks, we want credit decisions to be taken in Namibia by people that the Bank of Namibia has authorized. That's why we want to change the law so that we are able to take credit decisions in the country, so that governance and control resides in the country. That's what we want to change.
The issue of the FIC director, the appointment?
So the FIC director's appointment have advanced pretty far. All we really need to do is to inform the FIC council formally, and they are meeting early August. So once the council has been informed, we can announce the appointment of the FIC director. The process is advanced.
Gratomic Inc., that's a Canadian company, is preparing to relaunch mining activities at the Alcam graphite mine in Namibia for the first time in 46 years. The CEO and President Arno Brandt released this message.
Gratomic has focused its efforts the last year on building out the Alcam vein graphite deposit in Namibia. We built out a 20,000 ton per annum processing facility, which is currently in a process of wet commissioning and undergoing operation readiness to start putting product in bag. A great deal of our success came from the fact that our management team was incredibly strategic in the way that it was financing the business. We decided to take an approach where we really wanted to capitalize on the cap structure itself by bringing in all the outstanding warrants in the company, which is generally a massive overhang. We achieved a fully diluted status by the end of year 2021. We used that capital that came in to focus our efforts in building out one of the largest vein graphite processing plants in the world. We're going to take our exceptional management and leadership team and accelerate all our assets into a category where we can comfortably develop them as quickly as we can. With massive supply and demand influx in the world right now, we will strive towards doing whatever we can to capture as much of that market as we possibly can in the future. Venture Exchange has always been one of the strongest mining exchanges in the world. It was a natural candidate for a company like Ratomic to go list on the TSXV. It's very highly regulated and perfectly balanced exchange for mining companies and venture companies to accelerate.
Last week, we spoke to Bianca Schmidt. She is the head of a financial planning consultants at Alex Forbes about the importance of proper financial planning. This week, we bring you the second segment in the talk. You've been involved in financial planning for so long. What do you regard as the pitfalls that have the biggest impact on the overall financial well-being of your clients?
In my experience and observation, I would say neglecting to preserve whenever a member exits a fund, either through resignation or dismissal or retrenchments, maybe hoping to target the shortfall closer to retirement. We all feel very, very geared up for the future, and then when you reach retirement age, you actually realize I didn't save up enough.
Very much so.
And if we look at statistics, statistics indicate that 50% of future retirees will have to retire on a benefit of less than 2,000 Namibian dollars for every $10,000 earned prior to retirement. And that gives us round about a 20% net income replacement ratio. That's a fancy word again, but that is basically your income replacement is 20%. So that is quite cumbersome. And that is indicative that members, they do not preserve. They do not use the retirement funds for what it is needed to be. And that, close to that, brings me to the point, I think people do not understand, or role players do not understand the importance of a retirement fund. Retirement funds plays a significant role in facilitating investments and growth of retirement funds during the lifetime of a member. So for most members and clients that we consult with, their retirement fund assets is the only form of assets they could accumulate, or they've managed to accumulate throughout their working career. So that is absolutely critical that you look after your retirement savings. That also links to a very sensitive topic, and that is poor money management habits. We all have one or two poor money management habits.
Yes, definitely.
And unfortunately, the choices that we make today truly has an impact on our future and our security, our well-being in future, leading to high levels of debt. And because of that we unfortunately don't have any savings potential. So you immediately see the cycle. We cannot save money. We lack a savings culture.
Very much so.
So true. Our fellow Namibians, we have a spending culture. I would see also in my experience over the years that Namibians would rather take or cash in on the reward first.
Yes.
That is the nice lifestyle, the comfortable lifestyle. They would buy items on credit and then take the sacrifice by repaying and trying to pay off on your lifestyle. That is not actually a healthy way to build your well-being or to base your well-being on. Definitely. So a more healthier way or healthier approach would be to first take the sacrifice, like our parents and grandparents did, is by saving and creating your lifestyle, and then a lifestyle that you can actually afford. Okay? And once you've reached that point, that is your reward. Now you can enjoy a lifestyle that you can actually afford. You have financial independency, and you've got peace of mind. So that is the healthier approach, and that is also what we educate our members and clients at Alex Forbes.
You mentioned just that earlier in our conversation now. Before I move on to the next question, I would just like you to repeat that about $2,000 for every 10, because that, to me, is one of the most powerful stats I've heard in a very long time. What exactly did you say again?
Right, so the average retiree, because of our bad habit of cashing in on our retirement savings over the years and not preserving or accumulate adequate funds. So when we reach retirement age, the average retiree will only earn around about 20% of his pensionable income at retirement. So let's use a more layman's example. If your pensionable salary at retirement is 10,000 Namibian dollars, it means that you will only manage to secure an income at retirement of 2,000 Namibian dollars
per month.
Per month. So well, that is the 20%.
If that doesn't get you to Alex Forbes, then I don't know what will.
Connection. It's in the human touch, the feeling of belonging. It inspires us and empowers us, creates clarity from complexity. It starts new conversations, unlocks the power of advice, and makes an impact on your life. At Alex Forbes, we pioneer insight to provide you with advice that connects your decisions of today to your impact tomorrow.
Thank you for joining us in the studio of Business 7 for this week. We'll see you again next week. In the meantime, US dollar shortages are haunting frontier economies, and Reuters has captured this issue in a video. Until next week, goodbye.
As Pakistan spiraled into crisis this year, the effects were felt thousands of miles away in Kenya. There, Wilson Muthara pressed the government to put the tea his KDTR cooperative produces on a list of essentials that would grant firms access to precious US dollars.
Made a delegation there with the government, the CS himself.
Lobbying reflects anxiety about a scarcity of dollars across emerging markets, leaving his customers unable to pay. The World Bank says 1 in 4 such countries have effectively lost access to bond markets, a key source of money to pay for food and other commodities. That, as rising interest rates and inflation in the developed world have investors putting their money into safe havens. That leaves KTDA's clients in Pakistan, its biggest market, short on dollars, and the co-op that produces 60% of Kenya's tea potentially struggling to pay its own bills. Although the dollar's share as a global reserve currency has dropped to 59% from 70% over a decade, it continues to dominate global trade. And because it's widely accepted and broadly holds its value, it remains strongly favored among ordinary citizens in developing countries. But Muthara says countries should follow South Africa in trying to wean themselves off the greenback.
With the experiences we have of a dollar shortage, that's the direction now our African countries should get into, where they can trade with their own currencies. So for us, if that is embraced, the way South Africa, they don't deal with the dollar, they deal with the rand. That becomes better for all of us, because it makes our business is of bringing our businesses. So we're looking forward to that being actualized by African countries.
JP Morgan calculates that 21 countries with a combined $240 billion of international debt are now effectively locked out of capital markets and facing crisis measures. Ethiopia has banned the import of some goods. Others, including Sri Lanka, Lebanon, and Pakistan, have introduced capital controls. In Kenya, President William Ruto has backed calls for a trade payment system using local currencies.